Hi everybody, TJ Mack Vintage Cards and Nostalgia here, and today I'm going to discuss my collecting focus for 2024. My budget this year is about the same as it was last year, and I'm at the point in my life where I'll soon be entering my last full decade of work, and I want to ensure I'm in a good place for retirement. There are things my wife and I plan on doing around the house this year, and we have 3 teenagers with a 4th one only a couple years away. So, while I'm going to continue to enjoy collecting, those areas, of course, are going to be my top priority, as they should be. I've always been a patient and steady collector who's achieved many of my collecting goals over a long period of time. I'm not in a race against the clock to accumulate as much as I can before time runs out, but rather I treat my collecting as a journey to acquire items that are emotive and satisfy my desire to build something that is a representation of the sports I love and the eras I connect with. It is that simple. That is my compass. That is my quest. I hope to never be a collector that expresses regret about what I've built or feels the need to downsize. Of course, unless priorities of life dictate otherwise, then so be it. In the meantime, I will show and enjoy every purchase, knowing that it's building something of great meaning to me. That is my approach this year, and that will be my approach for the foreseeable future. My 2024 goal is to add between 65 to 125 cards and magazines to my collection. That is about where I'd like to be every year. Sure, I've gone over that number a bit some years, but I'm usually in that range. It keeps my collection growing at a steady and manageable pace. I do not want a huge collection, but I do want one that's broad enough to satisfy my curiosity to learn more about players that interest me and to showcase items of artistic appeal and also acquire things that conjure up nostalgic memories. Now overall, I stayed within my focus in 2023, even though I didn't meet a lot of specific goals. And that is okay. For starters, one of my goals was to add 12 Diamond Stars cards. Well, I added 1. This Frank Crissetti. While I still plan on putting a Diamond Star set together, I'm just going to take my time and add cards as they catch my eye. Overall, my plan is to add more 30s and 40s baseball and football cards to my collection, specifically 1934 Gowdy, 39 Play Ball, 48-49 Leaf, and 49 Bowman. The 39 Play Ball set has really grown on me over the past year. Now, one of my viewers, Gannon, and I have exchanged comments about the quality of the black and white images. It's a simple and timeless design that gives the feel of a photograph you might find in a scrapbook or a family photo album. Now, I spent a little bit of time over the past year reading about black and white photography. While I still prefer my cards in color, the few black and white cards I have in my collection have really captured me. For example, this Bill Dickey. What I like is that it's a well-shot photo, and I'm drawn to the smile on his face, how it looks like he's having fun with the cameraman as his right hand is clenched. Maybe he was pounding his mitt before the photo was taken as he bears down an imaginary runner. Without color, it's all about the connection with the subject, and I plan on looking at more black and white cards that speak to me. In the center is a new addition to my collection that I picked up a couple weeks ago before Christmas. This beautiful 1949 Bob Waterfield is my first Leaf football card. Now, I'm a big fan of the Rams from this era, and I wanted this to be my first card and what will be a focus area for me this year. I plan to pick up a few Hall of Famers and prominent players from both the 1949 and 48 Leaf football sets. Another focus area this year is to add more 1989 Topps Tiffany cards to my collection. If you regularly watch my channel, you know I collect the 30 key cards from 1956 to 1989 Topps in baseball. The only year I have left to finish is 1989 Topps, which I'm working on in Tiffany cards only. I need 7 more to reach 30. Now, the 2 biggest I have left to acquire are the Ken Griffey Jr. and the Randy Johnson with the Expos. I'm hoping to make some headway this year. Another set where I'm looking to add more cards is the 1961 Fleer football. Here are two pickups from November that I haven't shown on my channel yet. The Chuck Bednarik and Art Donovan, two of the great defensive players from the 1950s into the 60s. Now, the big card I want to get from this set in the upcoming year is the Jim Brown. It's the last one I need to complete his playing days run, and I'm hoping to pick it up. Now, last year I wanted to add 10 newsstand magazines to my collection, and I added 9. This year I'm setting a goal of 10 again. Andy from the Channel D's collection, which is a great channel by the way, asked if I buy magazines even if I don't love the cover. In some cases, yes, if I'm drawn to the stories. The magazines are one of the areas that have allowed my collecting personality to come out. The covers and stories complement my card collection nicely. Now, the few of the covers I'm targeting in 2024 that I've been looking to get for a while is a 72 Sport Brooks Robinson, 62 Sport Roger Maris, a 58 or 59 Sport Johnny Unitas, and a 65 Sports Illustrated of Lance Allworth. Magazines are a lot tougher to get in nice condition compared to cards, so I have to take my time. There are also several players I'd like to add more cards of to my collection. As I've mentioned, I have player runs of most of the prominent Hall of Famers between 1956 and 1989 for Topps Baseball, and I have many of them for football as well. So now I'm going after the lower tier Hall of Famers and the stars from the era. I would like to acquire, for example, more Dick Allen cards. I only have a 69 and 75 Topps. Specifically, I want to get a 65 Topps. The same with Tony Oliva. He's a more recent Hall of Famer, and I only have his 1967. I'd like to add his 65 Topps as well. An example of a football player I would like to acquire more of is Ken Anderson. Mainly, I'd like to add his 1973 Topps, which is his first card, and his 1975 Topps. These are just a few examples. I will continue to add cards where I'm enamored with the design, the photography, or overall artistic appeal. Here are 3 fairly recent pickups that I haven't shown. This 1971 Topps Veda Pinson is a wonderful example of action photography. You have one of the most exciting plays in baseball, the play at the plate. As the dust begins to settle, you see Pinson rising up from his slide with his eyes likely fixated on the umpire. Was he safe or out? Sprawled out next to him is none other than Thurman Munson, with his back to the camera, but that famous number 15 prominently displayed on his back. A card that tells a story. Then you have at the end here this beautiful card of Bruins Hall of Famer Johnny the Chief Buchick. He's in a classic hockey card pose, but behind him you have the vibrant pink with a cartoon-style crowd and a goalie firmly entrenched in the net. What a fun card to display and enjoy. And then lastly is this 1951 Bowman Ted Frisch. Now Frisch was a good fullback who also was a kicker. He led the NFL in rushing touchdowns in 1946 and is in the Packers Hall of Fame. However, one aspect of this card that I find alluring is his striking resemblance to Babe Ruth. Like the Bambino, he has a large flat nose and round face. Another fun thing about this card that I enjoy is the beautiful colors, the yellow, the red, the blue, and the green. There is not a bad-looking Packers card in the 51 set, and this Frisch is a fine example of that. So I'm always targeting artistic cards because they make great display items in my card room. Now there are other areas I'm looking to focus on this year, but these are just a few to give you an idea. Now I sometimes hear people say that I've seen a card many times before. I don't need to see another Topps Mickey Mantle or Roberto Clemente. To be honest, that can be said of almost any card. We even see, to this day, frequent examples of rare cards on YouTube, and also you can find pretty much any card you want to see online. So to me, what makes a card stand out is when a collector shows it in a way that gives a different perspective. I can go into any store that sells artwork and see dozens of landscapes. I can see pictures of trees and rocks and cactuses and deserts and rivers. And most of these landscapes are depicting the same types of things. But the one that speaks to you most are those that conjure up feelings within you when they assemble those items in the right way and they photograph them in such a manner that draws you in. The same is true with collecting. You can see a card 100 times, but if someone tells a story that draws you in or arranges it in a manner with other cards that evokes an emotional response, then the collector has taken something that is seemingly common and made it uncommon. That is the collection I want to continue to strive for in 2024 and beyond. Everyone have a great weekend.